So I'm going to show you how to do 6 different styles of lettering today, and I'm working on just a watercolor postcard. I'm starting with a SumoGrip pencil, and I'm dividing my paper into 6 1-inch sections because I have 6 letters and I want each one to be an inch wide. And then I'm just sketching in. So the first letter S is just an extra curvy S with some flourishes. My A is 2 parallel lines that then get a little foot. The K is a little more extravagant and it does extend into the A space, which is fine. And then I'm going to draw a big circle, which I'm going to put my U in. And notice how it extends into the K space, but it's okay because it's already there. Now, I don't love that A. You can use the pencil in the SumoGrip, but I just decided it was too small. So I went for a bigger eraser. And I like to work in pencil because I like to keep erasing and trying until I'm really happy with what I have. And then I go in and spend all that time. So the R is just a big chunky R, and then the final A is a cursive A. And again, I can fix anything. I can look at it. I think I'm going to add a little more bulk to that first S. And when I'm ready, I take a Pigma Micron, and the size is on the end and on the edge of the pen, and I'm taking an 08, which is the largest size, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to do what I call a clean trace. That means that I try to be as steady as possible, tracing those pencil lines for a really beautiful result. And if it's not great, you know what? We're going to cover it up with lots of pens and paints. So once I have finished doing all of my outlining, I'm just going to go ahead and erase all the pencil lines, and it'll be like I just was able to be one of those people who sits down with a pen and gets it absolutely right. So this is a Permapaque pigment paint marker, and I am just coloring in that A. I want it to be a nice dense black. That has 2 tips, and I use the bullet tip there. And next, I'm going to be using these Stardust pens and a water brush. And the Stardust pens have a little sparkle in them. And then I'm just using the water brush to blend them. And the sparkle spreads all over, and I sort of get a nice green color. And I'm bringing the paper out just to show you that I like to keep a scratch pad nearby so that I can clean up my pens and just get the ink flowing whenever I need to. So then I'm just continuing to use the water brush around there just to get all that color to blend so that I get something cool. And you notice how I just clean it on the back of my hand. Now I'm going back to that A, and I'm taking a Souffle pen and I'm drawing some little circles. And once that dries, they're going to be completely opaque white circles. This is a Pentouch pen, which you shake and then you push in the point like lots of paint pens. And I'm doing some scratchy lines into my K. This is a very fine point pen touch, but they do come in multiple pen tip sizes. This one's great for writing and doodling. Next, I'm going back to my Pigma Micron, but this time I'm taking an 01, which is a very, very small tip. And again, the sizes are on the side and on the top. And you can see that I've done stripes, and then I'm doing little hatch marks going in 2 different directions to get a kind of African grass mat look, is what I call that doodle. And now I'm using that same 01 Pigma Micron to add in some doodles into my U. And I'm taking a Glaze pen, and Glaze pens are a shiny, transparent, slightly raised surface. And when you see them in person, it's amazing. It looks like embossing or something like that. And they look wet even when they're dry. They do take a little time to dry, but the other nice thing is they really pool. Now, I was just holding up a Souffle pen, which is what we're going to color in the U with. And it's also what we use to do the dots on the A. And the difference is the Souffle pen is a matte raised surface. So you can tell from the caps, Souffle pens have matte caps and the Glaze pens have shiny caps. Now, into those circles, I'm just using a Pigma Micron to color in the centers of those daisies. I did use the 08. I'm back to the 01 on the Pigma Micron, and I'm just drawing some lines into my R. And now I'm just using watercolors and the water brush. Unfortunately, I forgot to drag the watercolors into the camera, but you can see how easily they just mix together to get a really nice soft look. And now the coolest moment. That's right, that gold pen, once it's dry, acts as a resist, and it resists the watercolor. Now, I'm drawing this with a heat gun simply because I want to add another layer of ink to that U, and I would normally have to wait about 5 minutes. So I'm adding a second layer of all 3 colors. It's 2 Glaze pens and a Souffle, and the reason for the second layer is the second time through I'm just going to get a lot more dimension, and that's what I'm really going for. I always think that the first layer sort of seals it and the second layer adds that cool dimension. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm taking my '08, I'm adding the Of America, I'm doing a little bit of a frame around, and then finally I'm going to add a shadow, and there's that watercolor palette. So I get my brush nice and wet, I go into the dark blue, and now I'm going to do a shadow, and the way to remember how to do a shadow is just pick two sides, and it goes on every letter on those two sides. In this case, I'm doing anywhere that's under or below, and anywhere that's on the right. So under, below, or right gets a little wash of blue watercolor, and it's amazing how much of a difference that shadow makes. It really just pops the whole thing. And that is just how simple it is.